We're wrapping up another season, and honestly, I'm kind of excited to see what next season holds.
You're listening to That Music Podcast with Bryson Tarbet, the curriculum designer and educational consultant behind That Music Teacher and the Elementary Music Summit. Each week, Bryson and his guests will dive into the reality of being an elementary music teacher and how music can truly be transformative in the lives of the students you serve. Show notes and resources mentioned in this episode can be found at thatmusicteacher.com.
Hello and welcome back to this episode of That Music Podcast, which is actually the season finale. Somehow we are wrapping up season 6, which feels a little strange to say because when we started this podcast, it was just kind of a natural extension of what we were doing with Instagram Live at the time. And it's kind of spiraled into something that I have thoroughly enjoyed, being able to connect with you on your commutes, on, during your planning periods, while you're washing dishes, whenever you listen to podcasts. And it's been really cool to be able to talk about a lot of things that are near and dear to my heart, but also to get to amplify a lot of the cool stuff that's going on in other people's classrooms through our guest episodes. So while we are wrapping up this season of That Music Podcast, I am excited to say that it's not going anywhere. We are going to be back in mid-August to kick off the 7th season of That Music Podcast, which is going to be a lot of fun. We just, as I'm recording this, we actually just last week created our outline of what we're going to be talking about and, what episodes we're bringing and what guests we want to try to get and really, amplify and what things we want to do. And it's been really excited to see, how we can build on what we already have. This is episode 193. So there's a lot of content that already exists. So how can we build on that? How can we talk about new things, but also talk about things we've already talked about in a new way, knowing that the world is a very different place. I launched this podcast right before COVID shut everything down. So it's really interesting to see. So as we look forward into season 7, the ways we're going to be able to dive into new topics and explore topics we've already talked about in new ways, I think it's also important for us to wrap up and kind of look back at season 6, because this has been personally an interesting season. I left the classroom at the end of May, and this is the first season that I've really been doing this full time and being able to really give it a little bit more attention now that I'm not in the classroom. And it's been really fun. We added YouTube. So if you're watching us on YouTube, say hello, leave us a comment. If you're not, check us out. We you get to see my wonderful new office setup here. But it's been really interesting to whenever I record these wrap up episodes, I get it's a little interesting because quite frankly, I never thought we'd make it this far. I never thought this podcast would be extended to the way that it is, and to be able to, have the listenership that we do. And I think it's been really interesting to see, quite frankly, podcasts are a very slow growth. It's not something that, instantly we have a bunch of people that are listening to. We're still growing the podcast, and we're still trying to get new teachers to listen and to hear what's going on. But it's really cool to be able to start. We've definitely heard more feedback than in previous seasons this season. And it's been really nice. So I guess really all I'm saying is, if you send us feedback, if you let us know what you like, what you don't like, leaving us reviews, that really helps us understand what you want more of, what things you resonate with, and what things you really don't resonate with. We've been really tracking the data this season a little bit more than normal, or in previous seasons, and we've noticed some trends about what topics really tend to go, not viral, but to go get a little hotter, right? Things that people are a little bit more interested in, or a little bit more wanting to try and wanting to listen and learn more about. So we appreciate those feedback. We appreciate the emails we get talking about, in reflection of what we talked about. We appreciate those reviews that we get on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening. And I really want to make this a short and sweet episode, but I really just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to do this, allowing me to create content that hopefully serves you in your classroom. And as we continue to plan season 7, because we're definitely not done planning season 7, we would love if you were to let us know what you want to hear. So send us an email, hello@thatmusicteacher.com, or send us a DM at thatmusicteacher on Instagram. What types of content, what voices do you want to hear? What people do you think I need to talk to as a guest? What concepts, what ideas, what are you struggling with? What do you want to talk about? Maybe you want to be a guest. Like, send us an email, connect with us. We would love to be able to consider that feedback when we plan out season 7. So with that being said, thank you for listening to this season of That Music Podcast. And thank you so much for making a difference in the lives of the students that you teach.